protecting the police every single day.
A civilian review board has recommended the firing of 4 cops after video showed them publicly execute a sleeping and disoriented homeless man. Sleeping. Cops to be fired after executing sleeping, disoriented homeless man like a firing squad. Matt Agarist, July 24, 2019. Oakland, CA. More than a year after 4 cops publicly executed Joshua Pollock, the Oakland Police Commission has recommended that the officers involved be fired. The commission cited the officers' use of a light which was shined into the sleeping man's face to deliberately confuse and blind him before they killed him as the defining moment in their decision. Since officers Brandon Reyes, William Berger, and Craig Tanaka as well as Sergeant Francisco Negrete, all opened fire on Pollock that day, killing him, they have continued to enjoy their paychecks and jobs with the Oakland Police Department. Now, however, that may all change. According to KTVU, the commissioners, who comprise a civilian-led body to oversee the police department, wrote that termination was the recommended appropriate discipline for all the officers. In addition, the commission recommended a demotion for Lieutenant Alan Yu, who was found by Oakland police superiors as well as the department's federal monitor, to have failed to properly perform his duties as the incident commander that day. Naturally, the police union disagrees and calls the move to fire 4 cops who executed a sleeping and disoriented man politically motivated. The commission's decision is obviously born from a politically driven need to prosecute police officers regardless of the facts, Barry Donnellan, president of the Oakland Police Officers Association, said. The decision to fire the officers is not final, however, as the law allows them to fight it. Now the union will step in and use their massive resources to discredit the commission and push for the officers to keep their jobs. City spokeswoman Karen Boyd issued the following statement in regard to the decision. The findings of the Police Commission's Discipline Committee are the next step in the discipline process. Under state law, the officers will be afforded their due process rights, including the opportunity to attend a Skelly hearing prior to final imposition of discipline. The City of Oakland supports the due process rights of all employees. The end is far away, Police Commission Chair Regina Jackson acknowledged in an interview. But we handled our responsibility thoroughly and in a timely manner. The incident in question unfolded on March 11, 2018, as police responded to a call about an unconscious man lying between 2 homes in West Oakland. That man was Josh Pollock, and as he slept on the ground, he held a small .22 caliber pistol. Pollock never had a history of violence, and his family and friends said he had the pistol for protection only. Instead of simply walking up to Pollock and taking the gun from him as he slept, police responded with a militarized unit consisting of a dozen cops and an armored vehicle called a Bearcat. As the video shows, the officers mounted the Bearcat and got into shooting positions before shining a bright light into Pollock's face and yelling at him to wake up and drop the gun. Because he was clearly passed out, Pollock didn't immediately begin following the officers' commands. Also, he was blinded and confused with the spotlight shining in his face and likely had no idea it was even cops talking to him. As the video shows, Pollock appears to try to get up but is having trouble, likely groggy from whatever caused him to pass out there in the first place. A few more seconds would pass as cops barked orders at him before 4 officers would open fire with their AR-15s. Police got into position at 7:04 p.m., by 7:06 p.m., Pollock was dead. After they killed him, police claimed that Pollock gave them no other option but to shoot. However, the video does not back this up. The committee does not find persuasive officer testimony that Mr. Pollock lifted or moved or pointed the handgun in a threatening manner toward officers, the commissioners wrote. The video clearly shows that Mr. Pollock did not lift, move, or point the handgun in a threatening manner toward the officers. What's more, the commissioners pointed out that the officers were waiting for their chance to kill him, referring to Berger's comment to Phillips of "if that gun moves, bag him." According to East Bay Express, In a claim filed against the city in September, John Burris and Melissa Nold, attorneys for Kelly Pollock, Joshua's mother, alleged that the police could have safely disarmed him because he was disoriented and not posing any danger to the officers. Nevertheless, an armored, military-grade vehicle was sent to the scene and multiple officers pointed AR-15 assault rifles at the unconscious man behind a bulletproof vehicle. Mr. Pollock finally began to slowly regain consciousness and made some slight movement as he acclimated himself to his surroundings, prompting the officers to unleash a barrage of gunfire.
Good evening, everyone. I'm that 5 officers be fired for their roles in the deadly shooting of a homeless man who was armed with a gun.
They said that their view of an enhanced version of the video shows that Mr. Pollock did not point the gun at the officers.
This case has been controversial right from the beginning. It involves a sleeping man who was holding a gun who was shot and killed by police as he woke up. Good evening, everyone. I'm Frank Somerville.
And I'm Julie Hayner. Internal Affairs cleared the officers of wrongdoing, but the department's independent monitor intervened, saying the officers should be fired. And now the civilian members of the police commission are making the same recommendation. KTVU's Henry Lee here now with the details. And Henry, we're talking about 5 officers.
Julie, that's correct. 4 officers fired their rifles while a 5th fired a beanbag round. Now they're all fighting for their jobs.
Suelta la pistola!
Last year, 4 Oakland police officers shot and killed a homeless man near 40th and Market, moments after he woke up while armed, police say, with this gun. The fate of the officers seesawed back and forth. First, the department and police chief said the shooting was justified. Then, a court-appointed monitor disagreed and said all the officers should be fired because Pollock didn't pose a threat. Now, the Oakland Police Commission has agreed. The officers are facing termination.
They basically sided with Robert Warshaw, the compliance director, and against the chief of police.
The commission says Pollock, who was homeless, didn't pose a threat to the officers at the time he was shot. Civil rights attorney Jim Channon has been following the case.
They said that their view of an enhanced version of the video shows that Mr. Pollock did not point the gun at the officers, which is what their contention was.
Sergeant Frank Negretti is among the 4 officers who fired their rifles. The commission says he took part in the shooting instead of supervising his officers and didn't plan for every possible outcome. Also facing termination is a 5th officer who fired a beanbag round. The commission also said Lieutenant Alan Yu should be demoted to sergeant. The monitor had wanted only a 5-day suspension. In a statement, Sergeant Barry Donellan, police union president, said the commission's decision is obviously born from a desperate, politically driven need to prosecute police officers, regardless of the facts. Oakland police referred questions to the city administrator. In a statement, spokeswoman Karen Boyd said, under state law, the officers will be afforded their due process rights prior to final imposition of discipline. The city of Oakland supports the due process rights of all employees.
So it is a historic event, and it's sort of the wave of the future. It's the way it's going to be going forward. The police commission is going to make the ultimate decision for the police department.
So the 5 officers are now fighting for their jobs, even though the DA said they won't be charged with any crimes. In Oakland, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News. Yeah, this was the first case to expose a big rift between a police chief and the independent monitor over what was appropriate discipline. But since these are only findings at this point, this case is far from over. Frank and Julie.
So, Henry, what happens now? Do those officers have any recourse?
Yes, they get to fight for their cases and argue their cases in what's known as the Skelly hearing. And that Skelly hearing officer, which is an internal process, could mitigate or overturn the initial discipline recommendation for termination.
All right. Henry, thank you.
Stop. Turn to your right. Hey. Hi. Yeah, do your best, buddy. Come right. Come right. Come right. Hold it there. Erase. Come in, turn. Very nice. Nice. There you go. Oh, yeah. Hold on, not yet. Ryan, do you have good spot on him? Yeah. Can you pull us forward? Yeah, come forward another 50 feet. To the right? Come right. All right, let's go over there. Stop. Okay, let's get set up. Burger back here. Show the engine. Move. Police, don't move! Put your hands up! Hands up! Hand off the gun! Hands up! Put your hand off the gun! Hey, do not move! Get your hand off that gun, young man! Get your hand off the gun! God damn it. Get your hand off the gun! Get your hand off the gun! Suelta la pistola! That gun moves. Yep. Bag him.
Dude,
get your hand off the gun! Get your hand off! God damn it. Ugh. Stand by. Damn it, dude. Why did... God, you guys good? Everybody good? Hey, everybody up? Everybody up?
I'm up.
I'm up. I'm good.
Tank is up.
Hey, LT. Let's look this real quick. All right. Okay. All right. The gun is. Hey, stop. The gun is away from him. Okay. Yes. Here's what we're gonna do. Shield up. Shield up. Burger, me, Tanaka.
Sir.
Okay.
Move. Back in your house, sir. Back in your house.
Hey Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.